in China, it's a color of joy. But strangely, it's also the color people fear the most. The color of weddings and the color of nightmares. How can one color mean both happiness and fear? Today, let's uncover the two faces of red in Chinese culture. Hey there, this is Emma Kong. Let's begin with the oldest question. Why do the Chinese love red so much? To understand why Chinese people love the color red, we have to go back thousands of years. In ancient China, red was the color of fire, the color of the sun, and the color of life itself. It stood for warmth, light, and power. People believed it could drive away evil and protect them from misfortune. There's even a famous legend about a monster called Nian. Every New Year's Eve, the monster would come down from the mountains to attack villages and devour livestock. But it was terrified of two things: the color red and the loud sounds. So on that night, people lit bonfires, pasted red paper on their doors, and set off fireworks to scare the monster away. And from that moment on, red became the color that could ward off evil spirits. And every Lunar New Year, Chinese people have welcomed the New Year in red. They write blessings on red banners, hang red lanterns to light up their doorways, and parents wrap money in red paper envelopes, a wish for their children to grow up safe and strong. Red became a symbol of protection, of bringing good fortune. As history moved into the age of emperors, the power of red reached its peak. Palaces were painted vermilion, a symbol of divine destiny. Officials wore crimson robes to show honor and rank. Even the ritual vessels used in sacrifices to heaven, and the emperor's ceremonial robes, shimmered with the glow of red. What began as a color of protection slowly became a color of power and prosperity. From the couplets on a commoner's door to the red walls of the Forbidden City, from humble blessings to imperial majesty, red became the very foundation of Chinese civilization. But that's only the bright side of red. It also has another face. Dark, bloody, and deeply unsettling. Strangely enough, the very color that stands for happiness can also send chills down people's spines. In Chinese culture, the most frightening dream is to see someone dressed in red. There's an old Chinese saying, "White clothes summon the soul. Red clothes demand revenge." According to folklore, if a woman filled with hatred and takes her own life while dressed in red, her spirit will rise again as one of the most powerful and vengeful ghosts. The red clothes are said to lock in her rage and hatred, trapping her soul on earth, forbidding it from entering heaven, and giving her spirit a dark and dangerous power. From ancient Chinese opera to modern horror films, the image of a ghost in a red dress has become one of the most terrifying scenes of all. A color once meant to bring good fortune now burns with the fire of revenge. And even in real life, there are taboos surrounding this color. In China, you should never write someone's name in red ink, because in ancient times, officials used red pens to mark the names of those condemned to death. You should also never wear red at a funeral. It's seen as disturbing the peace of the dead, a reckless and deeply offensive act. Some even believe that dreaming of a sky filled with red is a warning, a sign that bloodshed or disaster may come. And just like that, red split into two completely opposite meanings. It is a color of celebration and the color of death, a symbol of blessing and a symbol of curse. But why? Why does the same color hold two such extreme meanings in the hearts of Chinese people? Perhaps the answer lies deeper, hidden within the roots of Chinese culture. In ancient times, red symbolized fire. Fire gives warmth, but it can also destroy everything in its path. It is the force of life and the spark of destruction. Just like the red blood in our bodies, it keeps us alive. But when too much is lost, it means death and sacrifice. In the collective mind of the Chinese people, red holds a power so intense that it must be respected and feared. That's why during festivals, people use red to pray for good fortune. But in other moments, they avoid the color, afraid it might invite bad luck instead. It isn't a contradiction, it's a balance. The Chinese respect fire, but they also fear it. They seek blessings, but also try to escape disaster. In Chinese culture, there is a deep fear of disturbing the balance of fate. Too much good fortune can easily awaken its opposite, misfortune. If someone's life seems too lucky, too perfect, it may only mean that tragedy is waiting just around the corner. Red, no matter how lucky, must be always used with restraint. So, the Chinese have never simply loved red or feared it. What they truly respect is the power behind the color itself. Red is no ordinary color. It can summon good fortune and guard a person's peace. But when it's used carelessly, it can just as easily bring disaster. You've probably heard of the Chinese zodiac, 12 animals that mark each passing year. The rat, the ox, the tiger, the rabbit, the dragon, the snake, the horse, the goat, the monkey, the rooster, the dog, and the pig. Every 12 years, the circle repeats, and every person is born under one of these animals. According to tradition, when your zodiac year comes around again, people say that you are more likely to have bad luck. So during that year, people wear red underwear, red socks, even red bracelets, not for fashion, but for protection. In those moments, red becomes a shield against misfortune, a firewall between a person and their fate. But when red steps into the realm of taboo, into death, dreams, vengeful spirits, and blood, its energy changes. What once was a blessing turns into a warning. And maybe that's the true meaning of red. It reminds us that every stroke of luck comes with a price, and every blessing casts its own shadow. In Chinese culture, red has never been just a color. It is the cycle of life, a double-edged sword of fate. It teaches us that where there is light, there is also shadow. Where there is joy, there is sorrow. Where there is blessing, there is always a warning. Perhaps red feels so much like life itself that we can't help but both love it and fear it. We reach for good fortune, yet we fear having too much of it. We long for happiness, yet we worry about being burned by its own flame. And that is the two faces of red. What about you? Is there a color that makes you feel both comfort and fear? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, because the next story might just reveal another hidden side of the world. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next story.